What's going on there, YouTube? This is Quinn, that's Snazzy iPhone Guy, and today is Mac Madness Monday. Now, I was originally going to name this segment Mac Application Monday or something like that, but I'm so glad that I didn't because, first of all, alliteration is very important, and second of all, that would restrict me to applications. Yeah, that means I'm actually going to be reviewing or taking at least a look at 10.7 Lion. It's the newest revision and the newest and latest and greatest from Apple HQ and Cupertino. And this is the video demonstration of Lion. It's a very weird OS in comparison to revisions past. It's a big update. It's probably the biggest update since maybe even 10.0. I mean, it's huge. Probably 10.2 was really big too. But it's a gigantic update and it brings a heck of a lot of new features. Maybe Leopard. There were a lot of big updates. This is definitely up there because it kind of harmonizes the computer and an iOS-like device. And so we're going to demonstrate all the new features of OS X Lion. So first of all, if you guys remember way back in the day, there was the Aqua scheme that was kind of used in all the Windows, and that was done away with in about 10.4. Tiger kind of got rid of that, and they moved to the graphite look, and that's kind of what we see now. It's a little bit more dull, but it looks more professional, it works better, and now they've kind of moved to even a newer format. It's a very bizarre looking format, but it is one that is pretty studly, and we're going to show you it in the new redesigned Finder. All the icons are new. It's kind of a chromium look. I mean, there's not a lot of color there, but it does look very sleek and very sexy. First of all, before we get started, I kind of forgot to mention that this is beta software, so any lags and glitches you see will not appear in the final release. Obviously, this is the first private beta, so give them a break. And second of all, I'm booting off an external drive, so everything will be a little bit slower than what it actually would be in real life. So it's not that stable, but it is just something we can kind of demo the new features on, so that's cool. Anyway, so we have this kind of OS-like, or this kind of iOS-like experience. We have this cover flow look, and they've really kind of redesigned the way this works. Now, this is the All My Files section. This doesn't apply to everything. This is just this folder, but you can sort other folders, like the desktop, for example, in this kind of graphical format. You can sort by PDF documents and other text documents and pictures. It's pretty dang cool. One thing to note is before, scrolling down would cause you to scroll down and scrolling up would cause you to scroll up. Well, that's no longer the case. They've taken on the very iOS-like feel, and down is up and up is down. It makes more sense when you're doing things, laterally, but it does take quite a bit of work to get used to. It's kind of weird. But you can see that works this way, and then of course you can swipe side to side. Again, the same holds true. You swipe left and you scroll that, and as you can see, you kind of have this display where you have this kind of cover flow-esque like deal, and it looks pretty sweet. So that's All My Files. It's a newer section to the OS X experience. And then let's move to the redesigned Spotlight. So Spotlight still is about the same functionality. I'm not a huge fan of Spotlight, as many of you know, but it's a little bit more graphical now. There are some icons on the side, and it is significantly faster. So for those of you that do use Spotlight, that's a nice handy feature. It's quite a bit more powerful. Now, obviously, the focus of this OS is the Mac App Store. Of course, we already know what that's like, so I'm not going to go into it, but that's kind of what this all circumvents around, this kind of unified OS where this store kind of brings everything together. And it is, Mac App Store obviously works very good on this as well. But I want to show you Launchpad. Launchpad is probably the most iOS-like experience on macOS 10.7 Lion because it brings the dashboard, not the dashboard, it brings the home screen or the springboard to your Mac. Now, it's very iPad-like in the way that this is kind of organized the way that it is. You have this grid. You can have more than one pages. You scroll by using one finger to scroll, again, laterally. You can have as many pages as you want. I'm sure there's a limit somewhere, but you can have a lot of pages. You can also sort items. You can move them around. You can say, oh, well, image capture and iDVD are both photo applications. We're going to throw this together. And then, of course, you have this folder access as well. So, this folder access as well. So you can kind of reach all these applications, and then, of course, like iOS, you can click off the side to get back to your workflow. So that's pretty handy. It's a little bit buggy at the moment, but that's probably the most iOS-like feature of 10.7. Let's move on to Mission Control. Mission Control is the other kind of, it's the other workflow maximizer. And what it is it's essentially a replacement for Expose. So for those of you that love Expose, it's about the same thing, so don't worry that Expose is gone. But we're going to open a crap load of applications here. Great. Okay, so we have a bunch of applications open. If you hit Expose, I guess it would be Mission Control. You have this, this graphical interface of what you can select to use, and not only that, but you can also select the windows as well. When you're in full screen mode on an application, you can also do this as well. You can reorganize windows and do stuff. This is by far the buggiest part of Lion. It's almost not functional, but I'm sure they will work on it, and I'm sure it will become more functional in a later date. But for right now, you can kind of drag stuff around, and it works decent enough. So let's talk about full screen apps. This is kind of the focus of OS X. They wanted to kind of bring this computer-like experience and make it optimized. Make it so that you're in a singular workflow, that you can focus on one item at once. And so what you have the ability to do in Mail and Preview, and well, a couple iLife applications, you can do it in iCal and iPhoto, but I'm sure other apps are to come as well. You can click this button and the application goes full screen. So that's really handy for those of you that like this fuller screen experience. You don't have to press escape to get out of it. You don't have to ever leave full screen if you don't want to. In fact, you can use Mission Control and your full screen apps stay up top, and we could go to Chrome if we wanted, and then we could hit it again, and we will be, if it's not experience any glitches, and you'll go back to your full screen Mail. Now, Mail itself is completely redesigned. It's Mail 5. It's very, very iPad-esque, if you can't already tell. You have this sidebar. You can completely get rid of it, and this is like iOS as it comes. It is pretty crazy. You have all the same buttons: delete, junk, reply, forward, compose. Great stuff, right? Well, there's actually a few new features of Mail that are super cool. Obviously, you have this widescreen, one-click access kind of touch. You have this it's content-oriented. They get rid of the menus. They get rid of all that crap because the focus is your mail, and it allows you to focus on your mail. You have this very iPad-esque interface, and then, of course, you have a very, very powerful search. I thought search on Mail 4 was pretty good. It's one of the best out there. Photobox is is it Photobox? No. Mailbox. No, I don't remember the application. It's there's one other application that's pretty good, but search isn't really the focus of Mail 4. On Mail 5, search is huge, and search is everything, and search is incredibly powerful. You so much as type a keyword in the email, and it pops up instantaneously every other email you had with that person. It's very cool, and search is incredibly powerful. It's awesome. Also, you're going to find threaded emails on Mail 5. Again, not a big deal for me, but it is nice to kind of see the conversation you're having with other people, so that's cool. And then that's pretty much Mail 5. So we're going to escape out of this, and we are going to focus on Autosave. Now, Autosave is incredibly sweet. I have a docx file that I'm going to open with TextEdit. TextEdit itself, if you can't already tell, is a little bit more powerful. I mean, it's gone from a little dinky text editor to a pretty lightweight word processing program. It's pretty awesome, and I can see it being a replacement for Pages and Word for people that are just typing essays. It's not powerful, it doesn't do graphs, but it types papers, and that's what I usually do with Word, so it's cool. You have this little top corner, and this is Autosave. Now, Autosave is very cool because it is exactly what it sounds. It autosaves all the changes automatically. When I'm typing papers, when I'm doing all this other stuff, I don't really think, oh crap, I gotta save. I'm thinking about the content of my essay. And when my battery dies, or when my computer shuts down unexpectedly, or the application force quits, you're like, oh crap, I just lost 3 hours of work. We've all heard the horror stories of master's theses people have spent months on, and then the night before, they lose it because their hard drive got corrupted and their life is over. So, this kind of resolves that issue. What it does is it automatically saves for every single change you make. Now, that sounds like it's a little bit overdone, and it does, but you can also modify these settings to say how often it autosaves, and it is pretty intelligent on when it wants to autosave. Now, first of all, you can lock documents. So when you're done, you can say, this is what I want it to be. Do not touch this document. Do not save it. This is where I want it to be, and this is what I want it to be like. You can go in and try to edit it and says, hey, this is locked. You definitely want to either unlock it to make my changes or duplicate it. So you're going to say cancel. But we are going to unlock it right now. And let's browse all versions. This brings up a time machine-esque interface, and this allows you to see the history of a document. You can see all the edits that have been made to it. You can see all the edits that have been made to it, minor and major, and it's just really absolutely one of the coolest features out there. I'm not a huge fan of Time Machine, but this kind of integrates Time Machine into all of your applications natively, and it's very, very awesome. So you can click that, click restore, and you're good to go. There you go. You have your original essay and you are set and ready to go. It's awesome. I really like Autosave. Now, Autosave also transfers over into what's called Resume. Now, Resume allows you to shut down your computer, put your computer to sleep, restart your computer, quit applications, and it opens in the exact same spot. So we're going to do a little demonstration with Mail. We closed, we quit Mail. And if you can see down here on the dock, they got rid of all the dots. That's because Apple is basically trying to tell you multitasking is native now. And what it used to be was all the applications would be running at once. And now with Lion, it's kind of more focus oriented. So yeah, iTunes may be open, but so little CPU is consumed because it's not the active application. Now when you switch to iTunes, it'll say, hey, iTunes, start back up. But there's not really a need to close applications. Your computer doesn't slow down when you have 20 applications like it used to before. It's very cool and very nice. I'm still getting used to it because I want to be able to micromanage and say, no, you stay closed. But it's nice once you get a grasp of it. So we've already created this because I filmed this video like 3 times. But let's say we've created an email to my buddy, and he is really excited for this email. Now I can quit the application and it quits. Now before it used to say, do you want to save this in the drafts, and what folder in the drafts do you want to save it under, and how do you want to save it? It doesn't ask you that anymore. It just quits, and then you can reopen Mail and it opens to the exact same state, to the exact same email, to the exact same everything. Everything is the same, and it's completely restored. The same holds true with your internet browser, all this other stuff. It's a little bit weird to get used to at first, but it really grows on you, and having the ability to restart your computer or shut down your computer and have it come back exactly the same way it was before was awesome. You don't have to save documents before you turn it off. You don't have to make sure everything's saved before you go to sleep. If the computer turns off, it restores exactly to the way it was before. It's really cool. That's one of many features. We're going to go back into text edit right here. There's 2 new features that are a little bit weird. I'm not sure I'm completely sold on them yet, but they're, again, still beta. Now, the first one is autocorrect. Now, for those of you that use iPhone, you're like, no, do not put autocorrect on the Mac. And I can understand why you would be scared. Autocorrect is really good on the iPhone, but also accuracy on the iPhone is very low. With a keyboard, we have a lot more usability, and we're pretty accurate when we type. Now, this is going to correct stupid mistakes. It's very much like Microsoft Word. If you type the and type T-H-E or T-E-H, it's going to know you meant to type the, and so it goes, okay, that's the, and automatically corrects it for you. And if you spelt a name that's not in the dictionary, the iPhone will try and respell it for you, and this is like, no, whatever, I trust that they know what they're doing. So you can spell words wrong, and they still are spelled wrong, but it gives you that expandability. You also have the ability to like auto-complete a word. It's kind of weird, and I'm still trying to get used to it, but if you're like, if you saw that, you click a word and you click escape, and it will kind of just like allow you to select a word. And it's kind of bizarre. I don't really know the use for it yet, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out in future betas. What is left? There's not a lot. Airdrop. Okay, so Airdrop automatically detects all of the other computers in the vicinity of your own. It's a very weird kind of UI, and it's a very weird interface. I don't have another computer running Lion, so I can't demonstrate it, but essentially what this does is you open Airdrop and it finds all the other Macs near you. Now, I would assume it does it through Bluetooth because it doesn't require Wi-Fi to do this, so my bet is that it's Bluetooth, but it goes around and finds a bunch of other computers. Now, if you're in a coffee shop and everyone's using Airdrop, that's going to be like 30 computers. It automatically sorts by the contacts that are in your list. So if me and John Doe are in Starbucks together and there's 20 other computers with Airdrop on, it goes, hey, this is John Doe's computer. I can then send a request to John Doe and say, John, can I share files with you? Or can I airdrop with you? John has to say yes, and then I can send a file to John. I drag this file into Airdrop, and it will send the file to John. It's very cool. It works very well as far as I would assume. I haven't tried it yet, like I stated, but in theory, it sounds like a great idea. No more uploading to Dropbox, no more having to email files. You just drop and drag. It's very handy, very nice. But like I said before, you do have to be in the vicinity of each other. So I would assume you have to be on the same Wi-Fi network or, you know, in Bluetooth range. You couldn't do it halfway across the world. And the other thing, you don't have to worry about privacy because you do have to accept John to share files, and then you have to personally push files to John himself. So you'd have to say, here, John, take this document, and he'd have to say yes. So, you know, it's not like they can just, it's not like you say, okay, here, John, here's unlettered access to my Finder. No, it only allows and sends files which you told the computer to send. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty expandable. I'm really excited for this upcoming Lion feature. The last thing I'm going to talk about is Filevault, and it is AES 128-bit encryption, and it does it at the disk level. So now it's not like your home folder will be encrypted. Your whole computer is, and you can also encrypt backup disk too. So your data is safe with you. You don't have to worry about people stealing it. You're awesome. You're ready to go. And that's really cool. You also have the ability to remote wipe it. I would assume it's like the iPhone and you do it through MobileMe, which I'm, again, assuming will be made free Wednesday, when I'm 90% sure the iPad 2 will be released. So, anyway, there you go. Lion is a very powerful OS. It kind of takes the elegance and the simplicity of iOS and then the power of a real computer in a Mac OS X and mashes them together. It makes a really cool user experience that is a little bit weird to get at first. This probably has a bigger learning curve than any other Mac OS X update. It probably has the biggest learning curve since Mac OS 9, so it's huge. But the power and the expandability behind the OS itself is unthinkable, and I'm really excited for it. It's not released to early... Wow. I can speak English. It is not released until early 2012, so we're about a year away. But that aside, I am excited, and you should be too. Please subscribe, rate, comment for more tutorials and tips and tricks and everything Mac and everything Apple and everything in between. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, rate, comment, and as always, stay snazzy. See you later, folks.